Hey guys, do you hear something? Something really bugs me. Oh yeah, that's my PC. Yeah, it's so loud, so loud. I just frustrated. It's air-cooled 2080 Super and 3800X Ryzen CPU. I can't play games, I can't do anything if the GPU is loaded. And right now GPU is what? 85 degrees Celsius. Man, it's hot and it's noisy and it's really bad. So I need to do something with that. And today we're gonna build an air-cooled Otto. That's pretty sick. Yeah, and also we'll be using 3080 GPU instead of my 2080 Super, and we'll see how that fits in the Otto. Okay, so let's do it. So, what do we have here? It's a quite compact, not yet SFF, but still compact chassis, and that's my home PC. There's 3800X CPU using ASRock X570 chipset motherboard and 2080 Super Asus ROG Strix GPU. Well, yeah, and that doesn't seem to be working properly. The problem is that we only have 2 PCIe slots, and the air-cooled solution of Asus takes like a little bit more, like maybe half of a slot more, and the air that should be taken from the bottom part of the GPU is not actually going there because there's no space. I had even to put a toothpick between the GPU and the chassis so the fan blades doesn't hit the metal parts. Yeah, that's a problem. So it gets overheated all the time. The hot air from the GPU goes to the CPU and there's a mess. There is no any additional fans to put the air out of the chassis. Yeah, and I'm willing to install this exact hardware, except we will be switching from 2080 Super to 3080 new GPU, and I'm willing to assemble that in OTTO SFF case. It's quite like half the volume, and I think it's more suited for such builds. Okay, so ready to go, and we uninstalled all the hardware. This is an ASRock motherboard we're using with Noctua fan, and I also removed the cover of chipset fan, chipset cooler, because it was overheating. And the GPU we will not be using. This is one of my SSDs, a Samsung, and a 600 watt SFX Corsair power supply unit with all the cabling. So we'll be transmitting that to Otto and trying to assemble it. So we're here. This is my work table. Well, it used to be. And what you see here is Otto, Comino Otto gaming PC. Yeah, it's totally disassembled, and I'll tell you a little bit about the parts. So here are aluminum top and bottom panel, the black ones, black anodized. And the silver anodized are the side panels. They are pure aluminum, really cool. These are the filters that you install beneath the panels for all 4 panels. It's quite cool, I'll show you a little bit later. 2 RGB LEDs, LED tapes. One is RGB and one is addressable, it's connected. So it's like one. 2 SATA cables. I don't know which one I'll be using, but that's slim amphenol cables we put in Otto. 2 cables for our Razer card. That's PCI Express X16 Gen 3 Razer card. 2 cables for USB-C and USB-A. But unfortunately I won't be able to use USB-C in my build because my motherboard does not support it. That's button for Otto, quite cool. That's power socket, and well, we're coming to the interesting part. That's chassis. It's made from 1mm steel. It's really cool, and you can reassemble it in different ways to get the kind of build you want to. And we will be assembling today a build that's called air-cooled build. It's called plus 54 millimeters. It means that the middle part of the chassis is up 54 millimeters from a standard solution, and that means you like add a little bit more space for the CPU cooler and reduce space for the GPU cooler, so you just using standard air-cooled solution from any GPU vendor. So this is the front panel of Otto. Actually, it's a part of the reservoir. When you don't want to be building a liquid-cooled solution, you just use the front part of the reservoir, and if you want to, the back part is screwed on, and the pump and the fittings are also screwed on that part. We won't be using the back part. This is the back part of the chassis. It's black and matte finished, really cool. So also you see here some additional stuff like legs for the chassis, razor card holder, and this part, it's called like cable channel. We will be using that to store our cables, not to get like messy look. And there's some Velcro straps to fix that. Well, some screws and like additional parts. Here we see hardware, the motherboard and the power supply you've already seen, SSD, some cables, and that's a vertical stand for the Otto. We will be able to put it like vertically later on. It fits like this, like that. Well, we'll see that later. And we might be also using an AIO, liquid cooling solution from ACTech. We will be installing those in our more simplicated builds. Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, guys, so this is 3080, the main part of the project here. We will be installing that into Otto because a lot of you guys asked if those can be installed and be used properly in our Comino Otto gaming PC. Yeah, so we'll see. Hey guys, so we're back to the fun part. We assembled an Otto and it's operating properly. We installed a 3080 there, and I wanted to show it and tell how it looks like. There's an air filter. I'll remove it to show you what's going on. So here's two parts. This one for the GPU, this one for the CPU. Quite clean in terms of cabling. There's a special panel. You can hide most of the cables behind it, and the other cables are located in the cable channel. So I'll put back the filter. Yeah, so the side panels are magnetic. It's very convenient, and we have a special part here, so you can put your finger and remove the panel. So what's going on? The cold air is taken from the upper side by the GPU, and it's thrown to the side. And that's really cool because GPU is always having the coldest air possible, and that's actually the main thing here that generates heat. It's like over 300 watts right now. And the CPU takes cold air from the bottom part and from the back part, also exhaling it to the sides. How you put it vertically. It's really cool. I like the look of it when it's put vertically, and for this purpose we have a special part. It's called a vertical stand. It's a plastic part that can hold all your stuff inside, and your table will look clean. All the cables, all the USB sticks, and even Wi-Fi antenna can be put there. So you just do like that. This is how it looks vertically, and it's actually a little bit better for the CPU, because the CPU is also taking air from the side. It's always cold, and when it's horizontally there is a limited space between the bottom and the table, so the airflow is less than when it's standing vertically. So I prefer this option, but it depends on your room, on your table, whatever. But it's cool that you can change it, and you can choose between these options. Yeah, wow, it's hot. So I have the same scene, but the temperatures are totally different. The GPU is 77 degrees, and that's like 10 degrees less than it used to be. And the GPU is much more powerful. 3080 is like 100 watts more powerful than 2080 Super. And the CPU is 83 degrees. That's actually also a really nice result for this CPU. And it's approximately 10 to 15 degrees less than it used to be. Otto made it possible to run a really hardcore setup in a small form factor case, and it's cool that you can choose either to put it vertically or horizontally, and you can choose either you want to assemble it fully liquid cooled, air cooled, or hybrid. I decided not to install this AIO liquid cooling system because I wanted to see how it will work in the same setup with exact same cooler, and it will be totally air cooled. Oops. So I hope I answered your question in terms if 30 series of Nvidia will fit in Otto. Yes, it totally does, and you can even run it air-cooled.